What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Alolan DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral, and today we have episode 150, so of course we're covering Legendary, and you guys chose Lunala to be that Legendary, so of course we're covering that today. But for next episode we're sort of shifting away from the Generation 7 Pokemon now, since we've covered basically all of them. There's like 6 left, and they're the less favoured ones, so they are going to be offered as choices every now and again, but not the only choices. We're going to look at other Pokemon that are in the Alola region to cover for competitive sets. So the choice between, for the next episode, is between Slowking and Oranguru. So both Psychic types, both secondary Psychic types. So if you want, to see the Water Psychic or the normal Psychic covered, let me know down below by commenting either Slowking or Oranguru. But for now, let's jump and have a look at Lunala. So, Lunala is number 792 in the National Pokédex as a Psychic Ghost type and the Moon Pokemon. It is 13 feet and 1 inch tall, or 4 meters tall, so in terms of wingspan that's pretty big still, and weighs 264.6 pounds or 120 kilograms, so decently heavy as well. Being a Legendary, it's in the Undiscovered age group and is genderless, but unlike most other Legendaries, is part of an evolution chain. Of course, we have Cosmog evolving into Cosmo at level 43, and then further into Lunala at level 53 in Moon only. In Sun you get a Soul layout, so bear that in mind. In terms of base stats, its highest base stats are health points and special attack at 137, then attack at 113, special defense at 107, then finally speed 97 and defense at 89. So basically, obviously a special attacker makes a lot of sense, and fairly bulky as well, especially going along with its ability with its Shadow Shield, which is basically multi-scale but named differently, so it reduces the amount of damage it takes when its health point is full. So basically the first attack you take in a battle, as long as there's no stealth rocks or spikes or something, you will not take as much basically. So a good sort of strategy would be to keep healing yourself up as much as possible, but of course it's not always possible. I said possible twice. Cool. Let's jump and have a look at the typing now, because of course this Psychic Ghost typing isn't exactly the ideal one, because there are only 2 resistances in Poison and Psychic, 2 weaknesses in Ghost and Dark, and they are both 4 times weaknesses, so you're going to take a lot of damage from those. However, it does have 2 immunities with Normal and Fighting thanks to that part Ghost type, but of course then the rest just do neutral damage, so really it's not the best typing, but I guess that is sort of shored up by its ability in a way. But of course if you take a Ghost or a Dark type move, you will be taking a lot of damage, so you want to be careful of that really. What moves might want to see used with Lunala? Well, okay, first up we have one evolution move, learn an evolution from Cosmo M into Lunala, and that is Moongeist Beam, its signature move, 100 base power, pretty powerful as well, because its added effect is that it ignores the target's ability, so similar to Mold Breaker, just for this singular attack. So basically anything ability wise that would otherwise nullify it or reduce its damage is ignored, so multi-scale is the other option, ignores that, so it just basically boom, full damage. So it's useful and pretty good, obviously you get stabbed as well, so useful in most cases. Then at level 47 it can also learn Moon Blast, pretty good fairy type move, covers some dragon types there, so decently good around it, and covers those dark types of course, so that's always a good thing. 95 base power, so not quite as powerful, but it will be useful for those dark types. Then a couple TMs to cover our Psychic stab. We have TM of 3 Psyshock, only 80 base power, but of course this is the age-old, you carry Psyshock because it uses the opponent's defense, so then you can actually get some decent damage off on really bulky special defense Pokemon, so that's why we have Psyshock there. And then TM4 Calm Mind right after it, of course, pretty good because you have really quite high special attack, and your special defense isn't that bad either, 107, it's not too shabby, so powering it up even more make you pretty tanky, pretty bulky, and allow you to actually fire off a lot of damage at the same time. And then we have a couple coverage moves, first being TM13 Ice Beam, pretty good coverage there, not really much extra to say about that, it's decent coverage, you see it a lot. So that is that. Then we have TM19 Roost, which can be helpful, especially when combined with its ability, of course, Shadow Shield. If you can roost back up to full health points, you keep getting that, full damage reduction, I suppose. So, if you can say, right, I'm gonna, toxic the opponent maybe, if you were that cheap, with a Lunala, you can then keep on roosting and hope that they don't do more than half damage because of your Shadow Shield and such. So it can be used in instances like that. One final attacking move is TM52 Focus Blast, a very powerful move, again more coverage for those dark types for example, but of course only 70% accuracy because it's Focus Blast and it always misses, so it's a very risky move to take, but you can take it. The final move we're looking at then is TM90 Substitute. Of course if you can sub and roost that works out pretty well, and obviously sub taking extra damage for you with your Shadow Shield, then when you actually have to take the damage, you're sort of synchronized quite well. So that's the reason why you might want to run yourself a substitute there. So in terms of the sets, we're going to look at two sets. The first set is, I guess, your sort of standard one, your standard Lunala. It's a Calm Mind set, which is generally how you would use it. But the second set is then a speedy set. So we'll look at that when we get to it. But of course, the first set, for moves, we're going to have Calm Mind, Moongeist Beam, and then Focus Blast or Psyshock, and then Roost or Substitute. The ability is Shadow Shield, of course. Nature is a timid one. Held item is a Spooky Plate. And the EVs we have maximum special attack, maximum speed, and the last few of physical defense. So the idea here is you just Calm Mind as much as possible and attack. Moongeist Beam is your main attack because that's going to synergize quite well with Spooky Plate. And of course, your other moves, so Calm Mind obviously is what you want to spam as much as possible. Moongeist Beam is your main attack. Of course, if you come up against a normal type, you could go full Focus Blast, just take them out as quickly as possible so you can get back on track with your Moongeist Beams. Or you can run Psyshock to deal with any, particularly specially defensive Pokemon. Then the choice of Roost or Substitute is up to you. Either one sort of works. Sub just gives you a sub for a few turns, because of course you won't be able to restore health points without any leftovers or Roost. Whereas Roost is a case of I'm going to Roost, I'm going to try and stay alive for a lot longer. Whereas Substitute might be I'm going to switch in, I'm going to force them to switch out, I'm going to sub up, then I'm going to Calm Mind. That extra Calm Mind boost will hopefully allow me to survive the Substitute for one turn, so it'll be 2 turns Substitute, and then you can go from there, sort of thing. So that's the idea behind that. Roost is, I guess, the suggested one though. In terms of the nature, Timid is for the speed. We have definitely enough power on our side already, even boosted high by our EVs, and of course the speed EVs will boost our speed even more too. So we want to be quite fast to get ideally those Roosts and those Calm Minds off before we can take damage ourselves, so hopefully the substitute or our damage overall, or health points overall, isn't actually that dented. We have a Spooky Plate as the held item. I know this is not really something we see too much. The reason we're having this instead of, well, obviously Choice Band sort of out the question for Calm Mindset, but why not use the Life Orb? Well, of course Life Orb will reduce your health points when you attack. So if you go in and you use Moongeist Beam to want to kill a Pokemon, for example, because they're low already or something like that, Life Orb is going to drain your health points a bit, which means that when the next Pokemon comes in, the opponent is not going to have to care about a Shadow Shield since you already dropped some health points. So Spooky Plate is the next best option. It boosts Moongeist Beam, which is your main attack, and of course there's no health points loss. In terms of using this set, you go in, hopefully force a switch. As I said, if you're running a substitute set, you sub up, then you Calm Mind, probably just the one time, and then you attack. So there's no point constantly Calm Minding, because eventually your substitute is just going to break, and that will be it. You will eventually get whittled down. Whereas if you Calm Mind once, substitute's still there, hopefully Moongeist Beam to take the opponent out before they can actually attack you to get rid of the rest of the substitute, and then you another turn to go through. Obviously if you use a Roost, it's a different story. You just go and you Calm Mind maybe once, maybe twice, and then you start Moongeist Beaming. And of course if say the opponent attacks you to get your Shadow Shield gone, then of course you can just hopefully Roost at a convenient time to get that back. And of course the main issue with this set will be if there are Stealth Rocks up or something like that, which are going to reduce your health points when you switch in, so it's always good to run sort of a Defogger or something like that, Rapid Spin, to get rid of those hazards. If we then move on to the second set, as I mentioned, it's basically a fast set, because the moveset is going to be a fast attacking set. So we have Moongeist Beam, Ice Beam, Focus Blast, and Psyshock, all 4 attacking moves. Shadow Shield is the ability. We have a modest nature this time because it's paired with a Choice Scarf, and the EVs are the same as before, maximum special attack and speed with the last few in physical defense rather. So the idea here is Choice Scarf is going to make us really speedy, Modest Nature is going to make us really powerful combined with all those EVs we have, and then we can just fire off these really powerful attacks. Moongeist Beam, Stab, basically use that as much as you can. Ice Beam, coverage for flying types, for grass types, basically anything that Moongeist Beam, obviously if Ice Beam is super effective against it, use it over Moongeist Beam. Focus Blast is if you get a normal type and you just basically need to get rid of it as soon as possible. You hope for the best with Focus Blast, you fire it off. If it hits them, they're probably going to die, so it's basically just do or die at that point. Or Psyshock is the last option, allows you to hit special defensive Pokemon, and then of course it's just good coverage as well. It's a Psychic type move, so you can hit a lot of poison and stuff that you wouldn't get super effective attacks on otherwise. In terms of using the set, it's a Choice Scarf set. I don't know if I need to say much more to that, because you go in, you just fire the power off. Of course, if you're in a situation where you just use Moongeist Beam, they switch into a normal type, well, there's no point you staying in, switch out please. Or, similar instances where you use your first Moongeist Beam but they switch to a Dark type, they hardly take any damage, so of course, there's no point you staying in there, because you need to get the hell out of dodge before that Dark type hits you with something and just takes you out completely. but those are the sets for Lunala really, of course, so that's going to be it for today. That's going to be it for episode 150 for the Alolan DataDex. We have 50 episodes since Sun and Moon have come out. That is quite a lot compared to the old once a week. I will be reducing the sort of frequency of the episodes now. Past 150 we've covered most of the Alolan Pokemon, so maybe it'll be like once a week, maybe again, or twice a week, something like that. And I'm hoping to bring out some of the other videos on the channel, talking about maybe Dynamo remakes, who knows. But let me know what you want to see next episode, either Slowking or Oranguru. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today, so I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.